Right. So today we're asking you the question: if you haven't already got a robot vacuum, why haven't you? And if you have got one, maybe it's time for an upgrade, and maybe you might want to look at upgrading to the Dbot N20 Pro Plus from Ecovacs. So yeah, just to look at, it looks fairly similar, perhaps, to other D-bots that you may have seen before, but there are some major differences, especially when it comes to the auto emptying station. And I'll show you that in a minute with the new Pure Cyclone technology in there. They've done stuff with the brush, they've done stuff with the mopping. Yeah, everything's sort of been improved across the board. So rather than just talking about it, let's fire it up and give it a go. So the first thing I noticed when using the Dbot N20 Pro Plus is it's actually quite a bit quieter than some other robot vacuums I've used. So yeah, if we just pan over here, you'll see it hasn't actually disturbed Doggo there very much at all. But what you will notice is that it does still have a side brush that can get a little bit tangled in things. I put that there as a trap for it, but it's so smart, it's already figured out how to get away from it. You'll also see there that although that's quite a thick rug on the floor, the high traction wheels just popped it up on there straight away, and you will have heard a change in the suction power as it sensed that it was now on a soft flooring rather than a hard flooring. And you can really see how it races along, very manoeuvrable as it cleans around the border of the room. So the Dbot N20 Pro Plus is just on its way back into the station after a hard shift's cleaning. I've really noticed that the battery lasts a lot longer on this particular Dbot than on some of the previous ones. It seems to be able to do a whole vacuum on one charge, which is fantastic. And the other thing I've noticed is that, I think we've all noticed, is that emptying station's very compact. It really doesn't take up much space at all. It's quite subtle, tucked away there. But what isn't quite so subtle is the noise of the emptying station. Yeah, that's quite noisy. You notice when that's happening. But then, of course, it becomes a very simple task for me to just lift that out and throw all that dust and debris into the bin. Okay, so I mean, it's a bit noisy. It's not super noisy. I mean, I guess just compared to how quiet the vacuum itself is, it seems noisy. So basically with that Pure Cyclone technology, it's blasting all the stuff. There you go. See all that stuff out of the vacuum into this dust container, which is of course removable, and then you can just empty it out. Completely bagless. So that's the important distinction here. With other self-emptying stations, you might have like a big vacuum bag in there, which you will eventually have to remove, throw that away, and then replace. So that's a cost to you because you're constantly having to replace the vacuum bags, and B, it's a cost to the environment because you've got an extra bag. It's not just dirt in here that you're throwing away. It's a bag as well. So they've eliminated that. So that's fantastic. Now, the other technology to talk about here is the Zero Tangle anti-tangle tech. So what they've done is they've completely redesigned the brush. They've changed the angle of the brush head. They've changed what it's made out of. and there's a sort of a comb system to make sure that pet hair and indeed long human hair doesn't get all tangled around the brush. This is a problem for all kinds of vacuums, not just robot vacuums, and it can lead to a lot of wear and tear on that brush as well, and then you end up having to replace that as well. Now, unfortunately, and if we have a look here, you'll see just after one vacuum of my house, this anti-tangle, zero tangle technology has not been a raging success. So if I just pop that brush out, in fact, pop the vacuum back down there and show you. So yeah, what we've got here is you can see that the hair is, wrapped itself around the middle of the brush, and then a little bit around the edges as well, which is not ideal. So I'm going to have to cut that off at some stage. It does sort of have a groove, which makes it easy to get like the blade of scissors or something along there to cut it off. And what I can tell you is there's no sort of rubber baffle or anything on this head like there has been on some other heads, and that seems to be the thing that wears out first. It's kind of this sort of soft material on the brush. The good news is it does a fantastic job. I mean, the results are absolutely amazing. There's nothing like coming home to a nice clean floor when you've scheduled that clean. And of course, the other thing that this D-Bot does, and indeed most D-Bots do really well, is mop. And you might not have realized that one of the advantages of getting a robot vacuum like this is the mopping technology. Ecovacs's mopping technology is very good. So there's a separate module that fits into the vacuum that you just fill up with water. It's got a mopping pad underneath it, and they've changed the system again so that it vibrates more thoroughly than ever. So yeah, I mean, for example, here's the bathroom here at the Hart House, and I don't know what Monster Number 2's been doing in there. I think she's been spraying something on because she got sunburned or something like that. But anyway, it's left a greasy mess all over the floor. You can see footprints and the smears there. It's really gross. So we set the D-Bot N2 Pro Plus, N20 rather Pro Plus there, and in next to no time. The video doesn't really show it, but you've got a nice dry, clean floor, and it feels so much better to walk on. So yeah, if for no other reason, get yourself one of these just for the mopping if you've got hard floors. Fantastic. Now, there's only one little other criticism that I've got. So they've made advances to the mapping system in the app. And so here you can see on the map, it already knows, it's worked out where it can mop and where it can't mop. And it adds like a dark sort of shading over the no mop, no go areas. It's worked that out for itself. It'll map your whole house in about 8 minutes or so. And then you can divide up the rooms, you can name the rooms and stuff like that. But what I wanted to show you is that I've got floor to ceiling windows, as you can see behind me here. That's a ranch slider, but I've also got just windows that are like that in the house as well. And for some reason, when the D-Bot goes around, it maps, it looks out those windows and thinks that's another room. It doesn't seem to realize that it's outside. And that's fine because you can, like I say, you can divide rooms and name rooms and all the rest of it. But it does mean that, for example, where that's a ranch slider or a set of French doors, because this D-Bot can now go over ledges and things like that, you do have to make sure you set up your virtual boundaries if you're going to leave doors open while it's vacuuming, because otherwise it's going to go out onto your deck and start vacuuming the deck. And it did that to me when I first set it up, and then it sucked up a big leaf into it, and then I thought that the Pure Cyclone self-emptying station wasn't working because the dust bin in the vacuum got all filled up with stuff, and it was because there was a big leaf clogging up the works. So anyway, figured that out. But cool to know that it can suck up a big leaf. But yeah, so I bet you can easily set up a virtual boundary there. I would like to be able to then delete those outside areas off and not have them on the map at all. That doesn't seem to be an option at this stage, and it's always bugged me a little bit when I've used other Dbot devices as well. Maybe they can figure that out with a future software update. But yeah, that's just a little gripe. Other than that, the only thing that I would criticise is that zero tangle isn't really zero tangle as advertised. However, I'm really impressed with the self-emptying station and the way it just sucks everything out of the Dbot itself. And I love that I'm not having to buy any more bags, to put in that self-cleaning, auto-cleaning station as well. I'm generally it's a thumbs up. I don't know why I ever thought the whole tanks and reservoirs and filling up your own vacuum with water automatically and emptying the dirty water, because you've got to fill up those tanks and empty those dirty water tanks eventually. You're just sort of putting off the inevitable there. And I actually think now on reflection that it's much easier and simpler just to have that separate mopping head. Just fill it up once, do the mopping with that, and then you're not dealing with dirty water and stuff afterwards. But yeah, it's a different sort of a system. It just seems a more simple system. It's a more simple system with no bag, and it really gets the job done.